everybody. Thanks for tuning in for another video on academic writing. My name's R. Schrock, and I run an editing and writing coaching company called Indelible Voice. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons your social scientific paper was desk rejected. So before we get started, what is a desk reject? A desk reject is what happens when an editor sends you a manuscript back and says, we don't want to publish this before sending it out for peer review. So it's particularly annoying because you don't even get a chance to have your article reviewed. The editor just says, no, thank you. We're not going to publish this. And receiving a desk reject can feel dispiriting, and that's okay. Think about it this way. You actually haven't wasted any time. Instead, you've saved time, because it's far worse to wait months for a submission to be reviewed. It's actually better to get a desk reject in a way, because then you can regroup and figure out what a better path for getting your manuscript published is. And just a little note here, I'm going to give suggestions on kind of things that could be wrong, but always read the editor's feedback. If you're feeling a little bit bruised from the rejection, you can always put the email in a folder to review later. And also, kind of behind the scenes, the real problem here is there's a labor shortage of reviewers. Professors are tired as the rest of us. They're often busy with teaching and other administrative work. On their part, editors need to reduce review times, but they have a finite pool of reviewers to draw from. And everyone's exhaustion has gotten worse since COVID-19. So let's dive into kind of the reasons why you might have been desk rejected. The first and most obvious is that your manuscript is in the wrong format. You could have submitted an APA-style manuscript to a Chicago Manual of Style journal. Some journals can be agnostic to format and just request kind of a plain 12-point Times New Roman font, but then they have particular requirements about things like margins or reference style. So always pay attention to the style guide of the journal or conference that you're submitting to and conform to it. Literally create a checklist and tick off those boxes after you complete them, and make sure that everything is going to be up to editor's expectations. The second reason your manuscript may have been desk rejected is you may be using methods unfamiliar to the publication. The most obvious case is you've sent a qualitative paper to a primarily quantitative journal. And again, this is partly a specialization issue and partly a labor issue. And the solution is simply, I think, to submit to a different publication if the methods are truly unfamiliar to the editor in the journal at large. The third reason is your abstract or introduction might be weak. I mention these sections because these are the first and honestly maybe the only thing that editors at journals and conferences read to make a decision about a desk reject. If they take a look through your abstract or introduction, don't understand why this article needs to be published, they may just say, I don't really have time for this. And the solution is to rewrite those sections to strengthen them. You may have to do a developmental edit to reorganize and reshuffle the paragraphs in these sections. You may have to rethink your argument entirely. Maybe you're making your argument in a way that is downplaying your article's strengths. The fourth reason is there may be many spelling or grammar errors. And the solution here is simple: line edit the manuscript. For those of you who are writing in English and you didn't grow up speaking English, this may feel like a little bit of a bias against you. And to be entirely honest, it kind of is. Again, I think it's just another way that editors are trying to reduce the workload to the reviewers. I don't think it's anything necessarily nefarious going on behind the scenes, but I do think this is one sorting mechanism that editors have for deciding whether to desk reject a manuscript. And then finally, and this is kind of the most kind of gray area, reason for rejection, but it's actually really, really common. And that is your manuscript's perspective doesn't align with the publication's perspective. So, for example, you might be sending an information studies manuscript to a communication journal. The distinctions between these perspectives, between information studies and communication, can be subtle. But again, if the editor reads the abstract and introduction, it doesn't say, hey, this is the right publication for this discussion or for this evidence to be analyzed, they're going to say no thanks. And the solution is simply to reframe your argument, or barring no other option, simply submit to a different publication. And again, there are a lot of different publications out there for all of the social sciences. As someone who is fairly high reputation in my field in communication said to me once, have you seen how many journals for communication there are out there? There are a ton. You can probably get some articles published in them. And she was kind of joking around, but I think it's true. There are a lot of options. So there they are, the top 5 reasons for desk rejects, just based on my experience as an editor and writing coach for about 6 years. Please find me on Twitter at @ashrock, or check out my editing and writing coaching website at indeliblevoice.com if there's anything I can help you with. Thanks so much and have a good one.